Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live. This is episode 168, and I am so truly honored to introduce you to my next guest, singer, songwriter from Nashville. Calla will be joining me. So whether she's singing, performing on dance teams, she does everything. She has always gravitated towards music. Her debut single, Too Nice, was released in October. And I'm so excited to have this chat with her, guys. And I'm excited for you guys to know Calla a little bit better. Calla is in the house, and I'm going to invite her on in the room. Hey, guys, how we doing? Good evening. Thank you guys for joining. Hi, Calla.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on my show. I am truly honored to get to know you a little bit better,
Yeah.
talk about the music. You have some cool things you're going to announce as well.
Yes, for sure. I'm so excited, and I love how you reached out and I was like, "Oh, this seems so cool to do." And then I started to talk to you, and I absolutely love what you're doing with this platform. So, yeah, I'm super excited to be on.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I know. When we talked, it was a couple weeks ago when I had my
Yeah.
first call with you. And I was like, first off, I want to talk to you like all day, every day. I think you have like amazing stories, and I'm so inspired by your journey. So let's just jump right into it. Cool?
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go.
Beautiful. So I want to start from your very formative years in childhood. What did music mean to you during your childhood?
I think I always use it as an outlet. My mom, as the true mother would say that I kind of sang before I really started speaking.
Yeah.
And same thing with dancing too. I just kind of would twirl around and make my own music because I didn't know the words to anything.
Yeah.
But it definitely was a huge outlet for me, and I always respected the artists with the really strong vocals. Like I probably was maybe 7 years old, screaming Christina Aguilera in my room on a boom box or something. Like something seems very natural to me.
Yeah. Well, I think like Christina Aguilera, when she first came out, she hit a different way than most of these other pop singers. Like when I first
Yeah.
heard Christina Aguilera, I was like, Homegirl has got pipes. And I love that you gravitated towards such a powerhouse female vocalist.
I think her voice, like her and Demi Lovato, and
Yeah.
they have such strong vocals. And one of the things that I've always carried out with me in my career is that I want to sound the same in person that I do on my songs that I release, because I've gone to concerts before and somebody doesn't sound exactly the same. Don't get me wrong, I don't always sound exactly the same, but
Yeah.
I want somebody to hear my voice and be like, oh, that's Calla. Same thing like with Christina Aguilera, or even like Chris Stapleton. You hear them perform and you're like,
Yeah.
that's definitely that person. So I've always wanted that for myself. And I think just like really strong vocalists is where I always went to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Love that. So, okay, so you were dancing and you were singing and you were listening to Christina Aguilera. So, maybe talk about one of your first memories of music. Like, what was one of the first albums you heard? Or do you remember like a specific TV show when a specific piece of music was playing?
Well, okay. Like first was definitely Shirley Temple. And I was a child.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even, honestly, too young to even remember how old I actually was. But I have a very vivid memory of me standing in front of this TV, like child, and just like singing her songs. But and like watching them. Were they shows? Like I don't even remember. But I just remember her. It was black and white, and she was dancing and singing. I was like, I want to be like her. And then gosh, there's so many songs. I would always listen to country music with my dad in the car. Like whenever I did competitive cheer and I did dance as a kid also. And he would sometimes like do our carpool, and he and I would always sing like a Luke Bryan song.
Yeah.
Or a Jason Aldean song. And I also very much so remember those memories. But
yeah,
I kind of feel like I just sing all day and I don't even know I'm singing. So there's a lot. There's a lot of memories.
I love it because I kind of feel like you were speaking, but you were also singing the same amount because you were just obsessed with it.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely something that my heart is kind of drawn to.
Yeah.
And I listen to every single style of music also. So it goes towards every feeling, every emotion, every mood. Even when I'm so tired of listening to one thing and I decide to listen to something else, like it just clears my mind.
Yeah.
I actually used to read in school when I was not big into English, but when I would read in school, I would always listen to music in the background while I was reading. And it would help me like actually understand what I was reading, which is kind of makes no sense. But it worked in my brain, so
Yeah, you definitely
I can justify it with that.
you gotta do what works best for you, because I feel like it's like, and it was always music.
Yeah, for sure.
So was there a specific time in your life where you were like, this is the time that I know I'm going to do music? Like, was there that turning point in your life where you're like, boom, this is what I'm going to do?
There actually was, which is kind of weird because I feel like for some people it's just something that they've always gravitated towards.
Yeah.
And for me, okay, well, there's actually 2 points. One of them, the first one is I used to sing at our church and we did something called the Take. And so it was basically like Bible study / worship for junior high and high school. And I remember singing on stage and it was like a song that we didn't rehearse. I didn't even know what the song was. And they just kind of threw it on us while we're on stage and performing in front of all these people. And there's like way in the back the lyrics. And I was like, I guess we're just going to do this. It was a very like, they caught me off guard real quick.
Yeah.
And I was like a backup vocalist. And then I remember looking over and singing this song. And it's actually now one of my favorite like worship songs to listen to. But there was this like maybe 6th grade boy who was like sobbing, and the feeling and the energy is like indescribable in that moment. And it showed me like this was like a calling for me to have, and then B, like music really does heal people and it's the universal language. And I was like, this is something that I will never forget that. And I was like, I want to do something in my life with music. And then the second one was I would always go to ACL, Austin City Limits, which is like a music festival in Austin. Yeah. And it was my senior year of high school. And I actually went and stayed with my friend who was a year above me. So it was her first year at UT. And all morning we were helping her study for her, like, she's a film and photography major and she had like some film exam or something. And so I was there with her helping her study. And then we went to go watch this artist named Borns, who didn't even end up playing. It was somebody else at the stage that we were at, but they killed it. And I had never heard of them before. Their name is Sir Sly. They are a great band. And I remember thinking, like, I saw what this morning was like with going to college and doing the college thing and studying. And then I see what these people are doing, and I definitely want to do this.
Yep.
So that was kind of another turning moment. Like, okay, I want music as my career.
Yeah. And you mentioned music heals. And I think with everything that happened in the past couple weeks, right, there's just been a lot of craziness.
Oh, yeah.
Music heals. So can you talk about the ways that music has healed you?
One of the ways for sure is just, I am an emotional person, but I'm a very sensitive person at times. And it lets me understand, like, oh, so-and-so is going through this. Like with Demi Lovato, with a lot of her lyrics, which is another reason why I love her, is because she talks about really real things that happen. Like bullying in schools is awful. And I feel like everybody goes through it, which is sad because I feel like it's something that shouldn't be happening if it's happened from like my mom's age to my age to kids who are younger than me. Like it's something that needs to be fixed. Yeah. But music definitely kind of let me know that I wasn't alone in these situations. And also just kind of lets my brain drift and take me out of that certain problem that I'm dealing with in that moment, or, you know, all the craziness around me. It lets me kind of remove myself and just accept what's going on for what it is and kind of drift off into something else. It's a good way to take my mind off of things and kind of have that sense of peace for a second.
Yeah, I love how music can transport you. And like, if you're sad, you can listen to something upbeat. And if you're like angry, you can listen to something like that maybe brings you down a little bit. And I think it's so crazy. Just the amount of music that's out there in the universe and all
it's insane.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. The amount of, I don't even know the percentage, but if you were to look up like how many songs get released every Friday.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, millions of songs. Every single Friday. Like, that's
Yep.
insane.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Mental Health Awareness Month because it's May, just a couple days left in May, but I think it's
Yeah.
important to touch on mental health. So talk to me about some of the things that you do to prioritize your mental health.
So for somebody who, I've always dealt with like depression and anxiety, and they've kind of flip-flopped on me through the years, that my anxiety now kind of triggers my depression. And I think it's more of just being overwhelmed with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially during COVID, like you feel so secluded, and everybody felt something during that time. I like to stick to a routine because I'm also extremely ADD.
Mm-hmm.
And what helps me focus and not feel so anxious is like I have a little calendar. It looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I write down like every single thing, and it's one of the hourly ones. So let's say, because I work a part-time job also,
Mm-hmm.
so if I had to go to work from like 10:30 to 2, and then I have a session from 2:30 to 5, and then I go to dance from 7 to 9, and then I come home, it helps me stick to that and like feel more prepared in that sense. So I know I'm not overbooking anything or anything like that. And then also, actually, like where I'm recording at is my little desk that I set up.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like colors and different colored pens and all of this stuff. And I'm not somebody that used to be able to actually write down in a planner every single day. I never was able to make it a habit.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I've realized is like I need that routine. So every morning I'll come over here, have some coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and go through my emails, have a little bit of me time, meditate, pray, whatever. And it helps me kind of start my day with a good energy and feel like, okay, I'm prepared. Let's get the day going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
what you said about writing things down because I love writing things down. I
Me
do
too.
a written to-do list. I'm like, I talk about like how many things
Yes.
of water I want to drink and like, oh, I need to talk to this person at noon. It's like, I think like when you see it and you visualize it,
Mm-hmm.
it's different. And then you're like, okay, so from this time to this time, I'm going to be answering emails or I have a studio session at this time.
Yeah.
Kind of like, it kind of helps you cope with it a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially so one of the things that as being an independent artist that you really have to focus on is the promotion and the marketing of yourself and your music aspect of it,
Yeah.
and the social media aspect of it. And for someone like, I would totally prioritize like learning piano and playing guitar and having studio sessions, and I'm going to go record vocals, and I'm going to go write down this and this and this.
Yeah.
But actually sitting there and putting time away to focus on social media, at first it felt really stupid to me. It was like, there's no way that this is what I need to be doing with my time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there was more important things, but then actually sitting down and being like, if I don't section off time for it, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to run out of time, and I'm going to be so exhausted by the end of the day that I'm not going to want to do it.
Totally.
So that has definitely helped me.
Yeah. And I love what you said about marketing yourself as an artist because,
Mm-hmm.
when you have new music out, when, you have a show coming up, like you need to properly promote that. You need to give yourself
Yeah.
time. You need to do like visuals. You need to like, it takes a lot to market yourself as an independent musician.
Yeah, it really does. And even along the lines of trying to find like a release date for a song. So
Yeah.
you need to have 6 weeks in advance. You need to submit your song along with like the photo, the lyrics, all of the split sheets, everything that gets copyrighted, all of that stuff. You need to submit it 6 weeks in advance so you can get playlisted, or at
Yeah.
least get an opportunity to be playlisted.
Mhm.
And that being said, so I have a bunch of music coming out this year, and I'm trying to find times to do photo shoots and all of this stuff, but I can't do that until I have a song done.
Right.
And it's just like a whole thing with a calendar. So that's why I have that calendar, because you have to have all of this time to be able to market it and then promote it
Yeah.
before it actually gets released. It's
Hmm.
crazy, but there's a lot that goes into it.
Definitely. I think like when people release songs, like I think like fans don't realize all the hard work that musicians put in to
Yeah.
make the single and make the project what it is because it's so important to promote yourself.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's that much more rewarding
Yeah.
once you actually get it out. Like, that's what really makes it feel like, wow, I really just did this, especially as being an independent artist. Like, I did this by myself. Like,
Yeah.
obviously you have your co-writers and your people who are giving you advice and stuff like that along the ways, but like doing the actual manual labor of it, like, I I did that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so cool because you released your debut single in October.
Yes,
Too nice. And I want to talk about what that was like for you putting this single out into the universe.
it was kind of a surreal moment
Yeah.
because I have been doing music for so long, or what feels so long. It's only been like a couple years, but I started in February of 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just released my first single October of 2021,
Yeah.
which I have like 75 songs underneath my belt that I have been trying to figure out what my sound is and what really works for me, and does this feel right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I listen to so many genres and I'm influenced by a ton of different styles, that it took me a second to figure out who I was as an artist
Yeah.
and what my sound is and what I'm trying to share with the world, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
So it was a really, really good moment that just felt like I accomplished something, and I finally felt like, okay, I know what to do. Let's do it again. Like, it made me have that fire, to
Yeah.
start to keep going, really.
Yes. Oh, and I love that because it's kind of like you're writing this song and this song and that song, and you're like, okay, so which one is going to be like the very first single that I, as an artist, put out into the world? Because it kind of
Yeah,
like gives you that stamp, like, this is who I am telling people.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always kind of felt the pressure behind it too, of like, oh my gosh, well, but is this gonna like confuse anybody? Is this really me? What if I wanted to release this and then I release something else later on down the line that's like they don't kind of sound the same? Like, is that gonna be okay? And then I remember my mom saying, like, Callie, like, you haven't released anything yet, so nobody knows who you are. So you might as well just release what you think feels right, and
Yeah.
then we'll take it from there. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. You're correct. I need to take a step back for a second.
Definitely. I think you ultimately need to like listen to your mom, but also listen to your gut and be like,
Yeah,
okay, does this feel right? And I think when something feels right, you're just like, okay, you just got to lean into it because
for
the
sure.
universe will always put you in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So let's talk about this single, Too Nice.
Hmm.
When was this written? Talk to me about the inspiration behind this.
So Too Nice was written, I want to say maybe April of 2021,
Mm-hmm.
May, something around that.
Yeah.
The inspiration behind it was I was in a relationship at that point, and my relationship history has not always been the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never felt in a relationship like I would be the one to mess anything up, because this person is so nice. Like, he did the basic things that most you would expect in most relationships, but sadly enough, like, I haven't had that treatment.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, like, it was just somebody that I was like, you're too clingy, stop talking to me all the time. Like, I was very much so like, what is this guy's problem? Like,
Yeah.
he won't leave me alone. But in reality, he was actually just doing like the things that you're supposed to do in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it threw me off at first, and I didn't want to accept it as it was. I was like, you're too nice, like, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
You need to chill for a sec. I'll talk to you when I talk to you. And he's like, that's not how a relationship works. And I was like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was influenced by my relationship at that time. And it's the saddest part about it all is that I had friends who would listen to it and they're like, oh my gosh, I felt like this before. And I was like,
Yeah.
how toxic was the people that we used to date? Like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's amazing that you wrote the song like this because we've all been in relationships and you're like, wait, like you're like so nice. Like when are you gonna
Like, is
show
something wrong?
yeah, like am I
Yeah.
like this crazy? And it's like, there are nice people out. It just we've been used to like toxic people who maybe disrespect us. And it's like a
Mhm.
sad reality to state, but it's kind of like there are good people out there and like you will, eventually meet
You'll
them.
find someone that treats you how you should be treated.
Exactly. And
You
sometimes,
you go through a lot of the bad, but then you find the good because you
yeah,
know what the bad is like.
yeah. And it's like, it sucks because it's like you have to go through those bad times with those crazy people. And then you see somebody and you're like, wait, I felt like everyone was supposed to not be
Yeah.
to me.
Surprisingly, they're not.
I know. I know.
Surprisingly, there are actually really great guys out there.
There are. I mean, I don't know where they are, but they're somewhere.
They're out there. Saying to go find them, I don't know if that's gonna help. Go find them.
I think they're in Nashville. I don't think they're in New York.
No, they might be, but he was from Houston, so you never know.
They're down south. They're down south.
They're somewhere in the south. But yeah.
So for your fans who've listened to this song, what do you want them to take away from it?
I think just kind of not giving hope on those relationships, and because it's really easy to kind of shelter yourself off or have like those trust issues, because I had some bad trust issues after the past relationships I was in.
Yeah.
And it kind of would have up this wall. But I think it's good to protect yourself in a sense, but then also don't completely like hide who you are because you're scared of what this person will think, or you're scared of what this person will think. Like that relationship I was in was the first time, and I do music like as a career. It was the first time that I was actually able to show them every single style I felt like I loved. And like, I was totally able to be myself, which I don't know why I felt so uncomfortable about that. But I just did. Like, I was like, oh, they're going to think of me weirdly if I show them this Florence and the Machine song that I listened to, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But kind of just owning who you are and not hiding that from people because you have been in those bad relationships, because you will find somebody that will make you feel and will respect you like you should be respected and treat you how you should be treated.
Yeah, amen. I mean, you literally have to be your vulnerable, true self, and the right people will gravitate towards you. And it's crazy how, oh, I didn't want to show him this Florence and the Machine song. Like, I don't know what he's going to think about me when I,
Exactly. Like, what's wrong with, nothing's wrong with Florence and the Machine. I don't know why I felt like that. But it was just the style, the type of guys I dated didn't really know a whole lot about me, which is so surprising because I dated some of them for like a year.
Yeah.
And I always hid this one side of myself. And then I remember one of the things that I loved about the guy that I was dating is that he was actually like, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. Like, listen, look at all these songs I listen to. And I was like, we listen to the same music.
Yeah.
It was like something that we had hid from other people because we were scared that we'd be judged, or even just like opening up parts of myself. I was scared I was going to be judged for it. Right. But in fact, like, that made him love me even more, and it made me love him even more.
Yeah. And I think that's so beautiful, because sometimes when you're your most vulnerable, somewhat, you're either going to scare the person away, or the person's going to be like, wait, but I feel that way too. And you're like, you do? Because I thought I was the only person in the world that felt this way.
It's because it's real. Like, yeah. You see, and when you show your real self, other people will either be, oh, they won't stay, and that's how you know that they're not for you, or they will stay and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I have this genuine connection with somebody.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you find your people, I guess. That's what I've learned so far.
No, I think it's so important to find your people and be vulnerable and honest, and the right people will be in your life, and the people that aren't meant to be in your life, they'll just kind of exit, and and it's going to be like this ever revolving door of like good people that come in your life, but you got to weed the bad people out too.
Yeah. My biggest thing that I took away from that song and writing that song is you will not know the good if you have not had the bad.
Exactly.
And most people will get stuck in just this loop of, oh my gosh, why do I always find the bad? Or like for me, I was like, why do I always find myself in the same style of relationships and the same kind of relationships in this toxic area? And I was like, because I was choosing the same people.
Yeah.
I was choosing the people who don't treat me right. And then the second that I switched to someone who does treat me right, our relationship was amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took a second, but you cannot give up on hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope should always be there. You will find your person.
You got to have hope. The right people will come in whatever. So I want to talk about COVID, because during COVID, when everyone was like crazy in their house, like it was just a crazy time altogether, but you actually taught yourself guitar during COVID.
I did. So I moved to Nashville like January of 2020, and then I only stayed here for a couple months because I only knew like a couple people my age, and I didn't even I realized that people in Tennessee don't have H.E.R, which is a very well-known thing in Texas, and I was like, where am I supposed to go grocery shopping? Let alone like how am I gonna, it was the first time I ever moved out on my own. So I went back and I was with my family, and then actually I came back in September, and right before I went home for Thanksgiving, My roommate got COVID, or we were exposed at the same time, but I actually didn't get it.
Oh, wow.
And she ended up getting it. And then I went and I stayed in a hotel. And this was like 2 days before I was supposed to drive 12 and a half hours to go back to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up getting tested. It was negative. I drove back. And my mom, she has autoimmune problems. And so she's like, you're going to be quarantined in your room for 2 days and you'll get tested again just to be sure.
Yeah.
Because like you could kill me. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So I stayed quarantined, and then literally that night I was like, no, I feel great. I feel great. I was gonna go get a drink with my friend, and I instantly, the second I got in the car, I had that kind of headache where everything feels like this. Yeah. And I was like, oh no. And so I went and got tested, and I had COVID. Wow. And which sucked because it was like Thanksgiving time and the food and your family and your friends and everything. But I was quarantined from everyone the entire week that I was home, that I was supposed to be home, week and a half. And my dad actually has a guitar. So I got bored of watching New Girl over and over again and decided if there was any time I was going to do something, it might as well be now because I'm so painfully bored. And it kind of forced me to learn guitar. Which now I'm not going to say that I know guitar, but I'm learning every day, and it's something that you really have to keep up. But I really like it. It challenges me a lot, but it's nice knowing piano. You can kind of learn how to put chords together while playing with that prior knowledge. Plus it's like so convenient. You just pick it up and take it wherever.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you just play the guitar just to pass some time by, because like I can only imagine what it's like for like a week, like your family's out there and you like can't see them and you're like, okay, what am I gonna do for this week?
Yeah, and I felt like I had seen everything on Netflix. And I was like, there's nothing new for me to watch. I can only draw so many things in my room. Like, I didn't hang out with my dogs because I was scared I was going to get them sick for some way. Like, I needed to do something, especially like musically inclined. I didn't have my keyboard with me or anything like that, but especially with music, it heals and it takes my mind off of things. And so I was like, this is going to be my outlet for right now.
Yeah.
I just learned. I looked up YouTube tutorials and whatnot, and I was like, okay, this is what you do.
Yes. Kudos to you. Also, when you were younger, you taught yourself piano.
I did. I would say I taught myself. It's more YouTube taught me.
Yeah.
But I essentially taught myself. Yeah, I was always interested in it. And I honestly don't even know how I really started like wanting to play it. I think I had like the really tiny one that you have like as a child that like lights up and whatever. And then that's how I started to write songs, was on the keyboard or on the piano. And I only knew like a couple chords, but it actually helped me to start writing music. Like I think I wrote my first song in like 6th grade. And it wasn't a full song, but it was something. And it was just by playing the keyboard. And then I was like, oh, do you know what? I think that this sounds like this and this should go here. And yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so much easier to write a song when you play an instrument, right? Whether you're strumming or whether you're just like, oh, I just like those 3 keys that I just hit. Like that could be something.
Because it totally changes the mood of the song too. It could be, if you use brighter chords, it could be a lot happier of a song and the energy's more up there. But if you do like kind of a sulking kind of song that's a little bit darker and a little bit negative or whatever, in a way that it would sound like this. And so it all just bases off of what you play, which is cool.
So as far as your debut single, the words came first and then the piano came, or how did that work?
I think it started with the idea. I remember sitting in the session with the other people I wrote it with, and I was like, I want to write a song about how I felt like he was too nice at first, and I thought that there was something wrong with him or wrong with me in a way that this relationship is not going to work. And so basically one of my favorite ways to write is, so it was myself, this woman named Maria Christensen, and Paula Winger. We were starting to write lyrics while the producer, his name's Austin Heller, he was actually building a track in that sense. And we had listened to some things and kind of talked about a vibe that we wanted to go with. And it was like sad girl pop was the vibe that we were deciding on. and he was starting to build a track while we're writing out lyrics and coming up with melodies. So it kind of happened at the same time, but I love writing like that because if the energy is there, like the energy kind of builds together.
Yeah.
And you create something great, and by the end of it, you're like, oh my gosh, we have this great song that we just did.
Yeah, because sometimes I think when people write, it's like they write and they're like, I don't know what the melody is yet, but I know that I have some good lyrics right here.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I've also written songs where I had the lyrics down. I was like, I don't know if this would be good for a song or if the melody would fit with it, but I love these lyrics. So
Yeah.
it kind of just depends. I mean, some people have like a specific writing style, and then I write whatever feels right that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, do you write every single day?
No, I wish I could say I did. I don't. It's something that I want to. I come up with melodies all the time. That's one of my easier things to do when writing a song, is coming up with melodies, or just like little ad-libby things to go into a certain part of a song. But I write either by myself or in a session maybe like 3 to 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like also writing every single day would kind of hurt my brain.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I need that creative outlet, and sometimes I need to go experience something to have something to write about.
Totally. I think it's all about your experiences too, right? Because like you need to go through the craziness of life. Exactly. And then you're like, oh my gosh, something weird happened to me 3 days ago. And like, now I'm inspired to write about it.
Exactly. I told my mom this from a really young age. I was like, I never want to sing a song that I don't have an emotional connection to. Yeah. I think that's because that's what music does for me. It has that like emotional connection that heals my soul and feels something. And I write based off of my experiences. Yeah. It's the easiest way. I feel like a lot of the things I've gone through are kind of crazy, but also somewhat relatable. Mm-hmm. And I mean, especially like I'm 21, I'm experiencing a lot of new things at this age. I live by myself. Like that itself is a whole process of something that I've never gone through until now. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a brand new city, which is completely, different also.
Definitely.
I mean, I've been here for like 2-ish years, mm-hmm. But I go back and forth all the time. So you're just experiencing new parts of life and then feeling what feels right to write about.
Definitely. So why Nashville?
Well, so I don't go to college. Uh-huh. My mom sat me down my senior year, and I was really stressed out because I did not know where to pick a college, because I felt like picking a college, you had to know exactly what your major was going to be, and then what your entire life is going to be like, and where you're going to go to school after that, and all of these things. And I actually wanted to go to school to be a doctor for the longest time. I wanted to be a cardiothoracic surgeon.
Oh, wow.
That was like my thing. Yeah, well, I don't go to college. I'm a singer-songwriter, so things have changed. But it was either I wanted to be a surgeon, a choreographer, or a singer.
Yeah.
And which are so like different avenues, but the singer and the dancing kind of come together. Yeah. And she sat me down, and I actually did a tour of Belmont, which is one of the colleges here. Yeah. And it didn't feel like my place. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. My mom said whenever she saw my brother go to UC Boulder for the first time that, like, he totally fit there. Mm-hmm. And I did not feel that feeling, whatever it was, whenever I walked on campus. And I was like, I'll make it work. And she's like, we're not going to pay all this money for you to make it work. And I was like, you know what? That's a good point. And so we ended up doing music full time. And she was like, if you're going to do this, you're not just going to be sitting around, you're going to be doing things. And I found an artist development company in Houston who actually I would come to Nashville a lot to write, and I would work with new writers and new producers. And I think, after my first semester of being home and not going to school, I was ready to live on my own. Mm-hmm. And kind of go experience adulthood for myself, because you don't know how many things your family does for you until you actually are on your own completely. Definitely. And you learn so much more about life the second that happens. So I was working with a lot of people out here, and I have 2 really close family friends of mine, and they're also, one of them is a writer and the other one's a publisher, and they're kind of like my family away from Texas. And then I have a friend my age who I've known since like first grade that went to Belmont. So I was like, you know what? Nashville has Southern hospitality. It's closer to a Texas feel than LA is.
Right.
I've been to LA also. It's not as glamorous as I thought it was before I went there. I thought it was going to be like in the movies, how it's just all bright and shiny, and it's really not like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's just go to Nashville. People are really nice here. They'll let you in traffic, which is something I'm not used to. And it's a safer place than most. So
yeah,
just kind of picked up and was like, we're going to Nashville.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, and it's not like, because the thing is, like, LA and New York are so intense when it comes to music. And it's just they're bigger cities, but like I think Nashville is one of those cities. It's like Nashville is coming up. Like there is a crazy music scene in Nashville, and I just love the singer-songwriter community because it's like, you're right, like it's Southern hospitality, but there's like writers' rounds and stuff, and there's just music everywhere.
For sure. That's something that I loved about it, is that like I really wanted to immerse myself in the music industry and in that scene. And literally I can walk outside for about 5 minutes and see maybe 6 different people play. Yeah. Like there's people everywhere. And also a lot of people in Nashville are super nice and want to help starting out like new artists or independent artists, or they're just open to like, hey, you want to create something? I do this. I play guitar. Like, okay, cool. Let's play. Like it's very, very welcoming here, which in some places it's not like that. It's the opposite actually. And so I was like, I love that about Nashville itself.
Yeah, that's so cool. So as far as collaborating with people, have you met people like while you've been there and you're just like, oh, cool, like we should do something, like you're a musician, I am too?
Yeah, actually, so one of the songs that's going to come out on my EP this year, I wrote it with a guy named Ryan Lau and then Brittany. And Brittany, I met her through Ryan, but Ryan reached out to me on Instagram. He's like, hey, I'm a local producer. Like, I live in Nashville, yada, yada, yada. And so we actually connected like that. Yeah. And I went over there and I wrote a couple songs with him. And then Brittany was on that second song. And I was like, I love this. And then also a lot of like the people who I work with, because I work at like a restaurant right now, part-time. Yeah. Majority of them either do music or they're photographers or videographers or they're artists, like actual like painting artists or you know, they're musicians. And so everybody's kind of like, hey, like, what do you think about this new song? Or I'm a pop songwriter, but I don't have an artist that I want to pitch a song to. Like, could I talk to you about it? So everyone's really like good with embracing everybody's style, which is great.
That's cool that there's so many creatives just there and you're like constantly networking. Like, oh, you're a photographer? Like, oh, okay. Like, I'm actually trying to promote some stuff. Like, we should, you know. And
that's literally what happened to me.
Yeah, like you just never know who they know, and they're like, oh yeah, but I think like you would collab real good with this other person I know. Like that's gotta be so cool.
It is really cool. It's funny how you have this huge like wide range of connections and it all started from one conversation.
Yeah.
That's like the coolest part of it. Because I mean, even like some of the songs that I have coming out this year also, I met one of the main songwriters, Maria, who wrote on Too Nice with me. I met her through like a voice coach who like I did a couple sessions with, and I ended up going to the same show and I met her, and then I lived with her for a couple months and we wrote all these songs. And like, it's just crazy how the connections happen here.
Yeah. Yeah. And you never know who knows somebody else because like, or even like you wait on somebody in one of your restaurants, right? And they're like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, oh, what do you do? And then you're like, oh, well, like my uncle does this. So like, let me connect you guys.
Yeah, it's just like that. Like it's weird, but it's actually very helpful. And it's nice to see in a new, like the music industry may seem really, really large, but it's actually kind of small. Like it's a very tight knit community. And the second that you meet someone, then you'll meet so-and-so 5 minutes later and they're like, oh my God, I know that person. And
and then you're like, oh, because you know that person, I'm more likely to talk to you because it's like
you trust that person too.
Definitely. So I want to talk about life as an independent artist, right? You're on your own, you're in this new city, you have this part-time job. Tell me, just like shed some light on what it is being an independent artist in Nashville.
It's great. You have to hustle.
Yeah.
That is something that I've really learned. It is really all about the hustle. And you know, obviously I would love to just do music full time and that be the only thing I do. But on top of that, like, there's bills and I like to go shopping and, you know, things like that. So I have a part-time job to help support that. Or
Yeah.
like if I wanted to go visit my friend for the weekend, I could buy a flight and go do that, especially with how expensive those are right now. So I have a part-time job to help support music, and just like a lifestyle. But it's all about the hustle. You need to promote yourself as an artist. You need to put yourself in those situations and go to shows. There's a ton of shows here, and you actually meet a lot of different artists and producers and managers and stuff like that just by going to watch some people do a writer's round,
Yeah.
or which are super cool. And I actually really want to start getting into those. But I've gone to see a ton of them, and I've met a lot of people literally just by going to them. I feel like in music, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. Like you need to be 50% talented and 50% connected.
Yeah.
Like, and surrounded by all of that, you have to have a hustle. You know, it's even with doing social media, you have to promote yourself every second of the day. And that's something that I struggle with because I'm not the kind of person that can sit on my phone and just scroll because I feel like there's other things I should be doing. But honestly, it's something that you have to do. And just like going and meeting new people and going to grab coffee with somebody. Like the second I was working at this other place, a girl came in and she had just moved here like the day before. And she's like, hey, my name's so-and-so. Like, do you want to grab coffee? And I was like, sure. And it turns out she does all of this sync style music, which is something I want to get into. And so her and I were talking about that. And like,
Yeah.
it's throwing yourself in these situations, like being comfortable with being uncomfortable is really what it is. But it gets easier over time. It's just you have to be very consistent and very dedicated at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's so much to juggle, right? Because you said talent, but also networking. Like you can be very talented, but if you don't know the right people, right? It's kind of like, and then like you need to know the right people, but you also need to have that level of talent as well
behind it. Because I mean, there's billions of talented people in the world. And I mean, even in Nashville, like you go to Broadway and you see like 3 stories of an entire street of people who are so talented. But if you don't know the right people or you're not putting yourself in those situations, like you might not get heard or found or, you know, have that opportunity that you need to put your foot in the door for. Which sucks. It does suck. But at the same time, like you, as an artist, you have to do that for yourself. You have to just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, it's not going to, you'll have a way harder time.
Yeah. And it's like, you're going to shows, going to open mics, like looking at your Instagram DMs and being like, oh yeah, this person lives in Nashville. Maybe I should meet up with them. Like you just never know opportunity could come, but also the juggling of social media. Cause right. Like we have these phones in our hand and it's like, people want to know what we're doing constantly. Right. It's that like, yeah, but we don't really love social media, but you got to put something out there.
Exactly. And now it's almost more effective to blow up on social media than it is to go and sing at an open mic every night.
Yeah.
Which is completely, I mean, it's completely different than how it used to be, but it's all about streams. It's all about plays. It's all about all of that. And I think, you know, something that I do love about social media is I love connecting with the person that's underneath what they do. Like I'm more into YouTube with like watching or like going on social media. I love watching YouTube videos. I've always loved it. I think they're hysterical.
Yeah.
But I love getting to know the people besides, you know, the actual content that they're putting up. Like, what are they doing in their everyday life? And I don't know. That's just what people like to learn about other individuals. So I'm starting to get more comfortable with that, with posting things like that and like really letting people know who I am and like, oh, I'm Calla, but I also do music, you know, and that's my love, but this is also who I am.
Yeah. And I think it's so cool because like, are you on TikTok?
I am.
Okay. So you know that sometimes people will post things like, oh, here's a day in my life as an independent artist, or this is me like in a studio session, or this is me collaborating with Mike. Like it's cool to see the behind the scenes kind of thing.
Yeah. Especially because I remember the first time that I went into a studio, I was like in shock. thought it was the most beautiful place I'd ever seen. There was like records on the walls, and I was like, where am I?
So talk to us, tell us what's coming up. We got new music, we have shows, merch. Talk to us.
So, okay, there's a couple of things. I am releasing at least 3 singles. I have a lot of music that I've created in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about it. So I'm doing at least 3 singles and an EP this year. And I am planning on doing like the end of June, the end of July, maybe like early-ish August, and then for the singles, or like end of June, end of July, and then the EP in August, and then another single at the end of September.
Nice.
That is that plan for right now. And then also merch. I love streetwear style. I think also being from Houston, it's a big part of who I am.
Yeah.
It's funny because my mom is very like classic styled, and I was like, no, I like the baggy sweatpants, I like the oversized things and the like sneakers and stuff like that. And I also have realized, and I'm sure you can attest to this, that it is impossible to find something that would fit me, that would fit you, that would fit my best friend, that would also fit my mom.
Yeah.
And clothing, sadly, is really hard to find that fits all shapes and sizes, that goes to every race, ethnicity, every sexuality, man, women, like everything. Definitely. And I'm going to create an essentials line that my logo is my Calla lily. It's what I was named after.
Yes.
And so I want to have like just t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, biker shorts, comfy shorts, non-see-through tank tops. That is like my goal. That is, I'm going to create a white tank top that is not see-through, and I'm so excited about it because those are impossible to find.
I know.
And so I'm gonna have those, and then on top of that, I had an idea because I want that to be like an essentials line. So during fall, I'll come out with fall colors or different styles and stuff like that. But I want those to kind of always be there. Just for my brand in general. And then for each song I release, I want to have a certain number of sweatshirts and a certain number of t-shirts to come out for that song specifically. Yeah. So like, I think that would be super cool to where it's also like little mementos of my music career along the way, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have anything for Too Nice, but you know.
Wait,
I have a documented song, so that's gonna work.
Seriously, I love that though, because then like when you have these singles coming out, maybe there's a sweatshirt with like a picture and then like the song title. And I think that's cool because then it's like, oh my gosh, like this is one single and here was another single. And it's like, right, it's kind of those memories through your merch.
Yeah, so I think, and also like whenever I had Too Nice come out, I did a little release show in Houston at like this restaurant.
Yeah.
And you know, I could sell them there, and I could also sell them on my website, and then, you know, have them on social media. And it's something that I want to be very inclusive. Yep. Like I want my brand to be super inclusive. So like for modeling wise with dance, just growing up in Houston alone, we're a very diverse community.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people I used to dance with, everybody is different sizes, different shapes, different genders, different sexualities. And like I also want my brother to be one of the models on it.
Yeah.
Which I asked, and he was like, of course. And I was like, okay, good. I thought you were gonna tell me no. But yeah, so I'm gonna have that come out. Hopefully I will have that out by my next single. That is something that I'm striving on getting done. If anything, have like the shirt for that single out first, and then create the essentials line. Yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. Yeah. I've always wanted my own clothing company. Yeah. And now I get to do it.
Yeah. I think it's so cool that you're going to do it for everybody, right? Because I think sometimes about merch, like sometimes it's just like a big men's t-shirt. And I'm like, I don't really want to wear like a big, like boxy
t-shirt. Yeah. Well, and so for me, like I don't know why, but I have always liked men's clothing more than women's clothing. But that's also because the way that it fits my body, like sometimes it's too tight on my arms, and I don't like the way that feels for like a women's shirt, but my mom wears women's shirts. Right. And also like I want my grandma and the little girl I used to nanny to be able to wear the same thing. Yes. Like I want it to be for all ages, because also like I love certain things and my mom would never wear them. Yeah. And my mom would wear certain things that I probably wouldn't wear. I mean, she's got great style, but regardless, I don't know if I'd wear it. And yeah, so like I would want it to be for every age, and especially like finding clothes that fit are so hard. Like finding biker shorts that would fit me, that would fit my best friend, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it's all about like materials and sizing, and I want good quality streetwear, not something that's gonna get destroyed in the washing machine after 5 times you wear it, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really like searching and starting to research all of that. It's very new to me. I've never done it before, but I'm excited.
Yeah. And then when your stuff comes out, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, the hours that I put into this.
Yes.
Like it's
for sure.
I want the look that I want. And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's here. I'm wearing it.
Plus the best part about it is that the models for it are going to be my friends. The photographer for it is also one of my friends, who's probably also going to model in it, because she's both.
Yeah.
She's a model and a photographer.
Uh-huh.
And I get to collaborate with other people that I work with. Like I want to collaborate with other artists and other brands, and, you know, do those things while still keeping my separate projects, you know, along the lines with this company. So it's exciting. It's something that I get to do with people I love, for people I love. And yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that. So
it's exciting.
For the beautiful people watching right now that want to support you in your musical journey, what can they do?
I would say supporting my social media right now is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
My Instagram that we're on, Calla Music, that is my main avenue. And then also my TikTok is also Calla Music.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building a website right now, so that will be like put onto my social medias later on when it's done. But I feel like consistently keeping up with me, Instagram's probably the best one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that one. And then also I'm on Spotify for my single that I have, Too Nice, and I'm on Apple Music. If you guys want to go look me up there too.
Yes, make sure to go on Spotify, TikTok, IG, support the music. Merch is coming. New music is coming. So guys, please make sure to follow if you don't already. So that's all the questions that I have for you this evening. But guys, don't go anywhere, because Calla is going to perform for us. So whenever you're ready, take it away.
Okay. Just a little backstory on this song real quick. So the songs that I'm going to do tonight, I actually wrote them last week. And within a week, I was like, okay, I love these songs so much, and I want to release these soon. Yeah. So they're going to be some of my newer releases. Let me just make sure I'm all hooked up here with everything, and then I will be good to go. Okay, cool. Shaky hands, do I trust myself? It's up in the air tonight. Back and forth, and so wasn't clear, but I think we found the end of the line. Don't wanna let go of you and call it a heartbreak breakthrough. Numb inside, but I swear that I'm fine. Wish I could say I hate you, and leaving's not the issue, but I swear that you did everything right, so right. Nothing takes the edge off lately. Need adrenaline shot to the heart. Can I justify my actions, maybe? Or is it self-sabotage? Is it self-sabotage? Is it self-sabotage? Sabotage. Say I won't miss you, don't call my bluff, 'cause truth's in the matter of time. Which way's up, which way's down? Watch me crash to the sound of my beating heart still alive. 'Cause I don't wanna let go of you and call it a heartbreak breakthrough. Numb inside, but I swear that I'm fine. Wish I could say I hate you, and leaving's not the issue, but I swear that you did everything right, so right. Nothing takes the edge off lately. Need adrenaline shot to the heart. Can I justify my actions, maybe? Or is it self-sabotage? Is it self-sabotage? that I'm fine. Oh, nothing takes the edge off lately. Need adrenaline shot to the heart. Can I justify my actions, maybe? Or is it self-sabotage? Or is it self-sabotage, sabotage? Or is it self-sabotage? Say I won't miss you, don't call my bluff, 'cause truth's in the matter of time. So that's that one.
Woo!
Thank you.
Yes! Wait, so is that the first time that the public...
I'm performing it in front of people? Yep.
Yes. Amazing!
Yeah.
Thank you for dropping that exclusive of my show.
Of course. I'm so excited about that song. You can't not like dance to it when you listen to it.
Yeah.
Which I just started writing like really upbeat songs because I'm a happy person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not everything's that serious. Like I can write something that's so much fun and that I want to dance to with my friends in our apartment at 3 a.m. Like I could totally do something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a super fun song to write. And just doing it with great people made it that much better.
Yeah. And I love how you have an upbeat song, right? Because I think as an artist, you want to like diversify yourself and just kind of like, you have the ballads and then you have your sad songs, then you have the poppy songs and like something you can dance to. Like, that's very cool.
Yeah. So and I also felt like, especially because I wanted to release during summertime, that I have such great memories with my friends driving to Galveston, which is like our beach. It's not the best beach, but it's a beach.
Yeah.
Going to like a beach day with my friends with the windows down. We have so much fun. We're screaming like a Kesha song at the top of our lungs or something. And I was like, I want to create a song where people can have those memories too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to go through some of these comments really quick because Amanda says, oh my God, I love this song. Angie says, I love it. Sosie gives hearts. Amanda says, it's so amazing. My hubby and I wrote each other's songs for our anniversary just for fun, and mine was awful. His was actually amazing. Oh, I know, Galveston.
Wait, that's so cute that y'all wrote songs for each other for your anniversary.
That is
I love
cute.
that. I hope somebody that I marry, like, I mean, I'm sure that they'll share that love for music, but if they also did music, that'd be pretty cool.
I know. Yeah, could you imagine, like, the person...
Like, sharing that with someone?
Yeah, and, like, you collab and, like, you know.
Yeah. Who wrote that? Who said that? They might be onto something. Amanda, you might be onto something.
Love it. Awesome. And what's your next one?
My next one is called Love Like Gold. It's also one of my upbeat, happy, fun songs that I wrote. It's actually about my relationship with my faith and the energy in the room. This is what I started off my writing little like retreat with whenever my producer came in town from New York, and then one of my friends, Malin, is also an artist, came over and we wrote these songs. And this is what we started writing. This was the first one. And like, it just kind of set the mood for the energy when writing music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of these songs are with those people, but it was great. So this one is called Love Like Gold. Heartbroken on a Saturday. Oh, take me to that sacred place, baby. This pain leaves such a bitter taste, and I'm hoping and praying you'll wash it away and push the dark clouds and make me feel lighter. I must admit, this energy, it lifts me up higher. Your electricity is like a live wire, and it's just enough to spark a new match and restart my fire. Don't wanna sugarcoat it, I want you left alone. If the soul comes alive when I look in your eyes, can't hide it. Don't wanna lose this moment, feelings I can't control them. Getting lost in your light, oh you bring me to life, can't fight it. Can't fight it, no, can't hide it, oh, don't get soaking up all your radiance, and I'm hoping and praying I won't be the same, yeah. Push the dark clouds and make me feel lighter. I must admit, this energy, it lifts me up higher. Your electricity is like a live wire, and it's just enough to spark a new match or restart my fire. Don't wanna sugarcoat it, I want your love, I want it, 'cause my soul comes alive when I look in your eyes, can't hide it. Don't wanna lose this moment, feelings I can't control, I'm getting lost in your light, oh you bring me to life, can't fight it. Can't fight it, no, can't hide it, oh, don't care if it shows your love is just like gold. Fight it, no, can't hide it, oh, don't care if it shows your love is just like gold. Moon to the stars, there's gravity in your arms, let me be where you are, 'cause I know. From the moon to the stars, there's gravity in your arms. So let me be where you are, 'cause I know. Don't wanna sugarcoat it, I want your love, I want it, 'cause my soul comes alive when I look in your eyes, can't hide it. Don't wanna lose this moment, feelings I can't control, I'm getting lost in your light, oh you bring me to life, can't fight it. Can't fight it, no, can't hide it. Don't care if it shows your love is just like gold. Fight it, no, can't hide it. Don't care if it shows your love is just like gold.
Woo! Yes! Love it. And thank you for dropping not just one, but 2 exclusives on my show, like never released. But those are coming in the next couple months, right?
Yes, so those are going to be released. Which I love the fact that they're happy songs, because the first one's called Self-Sabotage.
Yeah.
And which doesn't sound like a but so that one is probably going to get released first.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully July is what I'm looking at. I've already got ideas for like the cover art for it and everything like that, so it's really just getting the song done. I mean, we wrote it last week, so like getting the song done, completely recorded, everything's done, and then doing the photo shoot for it. I'm looking at July for that song. Mm-hmm. And then Love Like Gold will probably come after that. Yeah. And also they'll both be on my EP as well.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. So do you have some time for some questions from the audience? Yeah. Beautiful. So guys, if you're in the chat right now and you have questions, please feel free to put them in the comments section below. Also, not only are you just a singer-songwriter, but you're an award-winning dancer. So talk to me about your love for dance and how it affects your life.
Dance is something that I have always loved along with music. Mm-hmm. Dance is one of those things that, like, if I was ever having a bad day, if I just dance, it like instantly brings up my mood. Yeah. And I did dance from when I was like 18 months old till like 5th grade. I learned all styles, and then all my friends did cheer, and I was like, okay, I want to be a cheerleader. Yeah. So I went and did competitive cheer. And then my sophomore year of high school was my first year going back to dance, and I did competitive dance. And I worked with a team called H.E.R Athletics. It was a gym. They're like my family. Like, I love them so much. Uh-huh. And I was on 3 hip hop teams. My first year I did 2. My second and third year I did 3 teams. Mm-hmm. And it was like the best moment because we were able to break away from a separate gym, created our own thing. Natalie Stavanoa St. Laurent, she is the one who actually did that and was our coach. And it was a great way for me to meet people. It was a great way for me to bond with other people. Like, those girls are like my little sisters. Like, I love them to death. And I still talk to them like every day. Yeah. It was something that really, if I'm ever in a bad mood, having a bad day, or I'm just like tired and I just don't, feel up to it, like, it instantly lifts up my mood.
Yeah.
Which I feel like dancing, like you don't have to be the best dancer, just dancing in general puts you in a good mood.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you listen to certain songs, you're like, you can't help but like start dancing.
Move. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it just brings a certain type of joy.
Yeah.
Like, and you just laugh. If you look stupid, like I can't tell you how many times I've gone out with my friends and we're dancing and I'm like, I probably look so stupid right now, but I'm having the best time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't care and you just have fun and yeah.
Exactly. You just got to let the music flow through you.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Awesome. What does success mean to you?
I think it's funny because I don't really have a thing of what success looks like to me. Like obviously I know what people who are successful, like what that looks like to them.
Yeah.
But I think for me, my end goal is to just be happy and like content with life and always wanting to stay like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I would love one day I want to perform at Super Bowl and I want to do Coachella and all of these festivals and I want to win a Grammy and stuff like that. But when it really comes down to it, I just want to be happy with where I'm at in life and know that my music heals people and it touches someone. So if I'm in a room of 5 people or a stage with thousands of people, if it touched one person, I feel good.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's like my way that I'll find success.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes. Love that. So, do you have any final words for the room, Calla?
Thank you for having me on.
Of course.
Hopefully that you guys enjoyed our little interview podcast live. I had a great time doing it. And if you guys want to go support my music and kind of follow me throughout this journey of how I navigate through it, like I said, my Instagram is a great one to go to because I post the most on there. And then also my TikTok, which is the same name as my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I hope also if you guys have any recommendations or ideas for merch, let me know because I will totally use them.
Yeah.
Or something that you have struggled with finding certain items in the past, like sweatpants not fitting correctly or anything like that, let me know because it's something that I want to address when I come out with my brand.
Yeah, I think that's so cool that you're open to those suggestions because it's like,
Yeah.
you want everyone to be able to, like you said, you want young kids to be able to wear the clothes, but also your grandma.
Exactly. Like, and I think majority of it is customer feedback because I know what I want based off of what I haven't had in other companies.
Right. Yeah. And the feedback is so important because I think when you start a company, people are always going to give you feedback, and whether it's positive or negative, you can always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Awesome. I cannot wait to see your merch and hear all this new. Like, you have a very busy summer in front of you, and I'm so happy you had the opportunity to come on my show and take the time to, chat with me. And please, please, please come back when you want to promote anything.
Yes, I would love to. And also thank you for reaching out to me in the first place because
of course.
That was like total badass for you to do, especially as a woman in this industry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would totally come back.
Thank you. Thank you. I truly loved our conversation, guys. If you don't already, please make sure to follow Calla on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, TikTok. The merch is coming. New music is coming. Give her a follow. Share her stuff and tell her what you want to see in the merch line, and you will be wearing her merch very soon. And if you don't already, please make sure to follow me. I'm Ashley Live. This is Vibin with Ashley Live. I support incredible musicians all the time, and this is episode, I believe it's 168. I'm losing track of all these episodes. Wow. But thank you guys so much for spending your evening with us, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.